So is this the biggest week in pro wrestling? Consider that we'll see the largest crowd for any sports entertainment event this weekend at AEW All in London. I'm sure it's arguable. Hey, it's the Ant-Man here with my pal Michael Glavin to break down a few key moments from last night's AEW Dynamite, the go-home edition, the last live event before Sunday's record-setting pay-per-view. Michael, does it have that big event feel for you yet?
It's tough to say. AEW is working on an uphill situation in that it's still such a new company that behaves like a company that's been around for a really, really long time. And when you have an event like this, you don't know what to feel. It's like, man, Wembley Stadium, 80 or 90,000 people. But then at the same time, you go through these moments that even though we look fondly on AEW here on the Dynamite dissection and Russell Chat in general, you still have those brief moments where you're going, hey, it's just AEW. But I think this week changes all of that. I think this is the solidification and cementing their place in the professional wrestling industry by selling out Wembley Stadium. And I think this is a turning of the tides for the way people view AEW.
Well, and I think the real main event, and I'm stealing this from Eric Bischoff, this is something he said, that the real star of this whole thing, or the main event of this whole event, is the crowd. The crowd, how the crowd reacts to what happens is going to be the star of the show. I'm looking forward to it. And you're the star of this show, too. We want you to join in on the chat, comment on this video, and it would mean a lot to us if you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons while you're at it. Maybe even share this episode with a friend. Appreciate you doing that. MJF, the AEW champion, for now holding that title he calls the Triple B. I call this one right here, I called it the Triple P. It's the Pakistani Prince production. It's not the same as a Triple B, but Max has had a big week already. He did a town hall with Dave LaGreca on Busted Open. It's undoubtedly the most candid I've ever seen. Max, if you get a chance to check out that interview, it was fantastic. I'm not sure how old Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were at WrestleMania 3, but Max is going to be going down in history, really already down in history, even before All In gets here. He'll be in both the pre-show wrestling with Adam Cole, and he'll be in the main event wrestling against Adam Cole. Max is only 27 years old. Do you think we've truly grasped the enormity of this occasion, having a 27-year-old champion hold up an event with 80,000 plus fans?
No, I don't think we have. And to his credit, from a character perspective, one of the best in the business right now. Prepping for this show, I went back and watched again the interviews that him and Adam Cole did with Renee Paquette recently. And the way that he carries himself, not only as a character and just seamlessly weaves in and out of storyline and real life, from a character perspective, he deserves it. More so, that he is on a personal side, he is very serious about what he does, and it comes through. And so, more power to him for achieving this level of success so young. Just being a well put together human being from a business perspective and a character perspective, just absolute wow. But no, I don't think we have fully grasped what it means for a 27-year-old to hold down a main event for 90,000 people.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it, him sitting down with Renee backstage. I actually love that they did not have he and Adam in the same room for this go-home show, but they did show what appears to be cracks in the friendship between the two ahead of their meeting in London. I feel this really added to the anticipation of the match. What say you?
Absolutely. I mean, they're stepping outside of the normal friendship in professional wrestling, and we're really showing a very complicated dynamic that these two guys, they really touch and the most each other. It's not that they're faking it. It's not that there's going to be a backstab, but it shows the complicated relationship that you have in a competitive sport, that like, hey, we are really good friends, but if you stand in my way, I'm going to end you. And so I love the way that they're displaying this, and even, At one point in the interview, MJF is like, the thing that you can do is grab a pint and cheer loudly. And Renee's like, are you really going to buy a pint for it? No, Renee, I'm going to have Tony Khan do it. And just the absolute skill that he operates this entire storyline, again, so good. And Adam Cole getting angry and defensive of why, people are not taking their friendship seriously. It is just the perfect setup for everything that is going to happen. And I really believe we're going to see a fantastic story told all the way through All In, starting from the beginning in the pre-show match all the way through to the main event. It's just going to be fantastic.
Something great about MJF, I really feel he's starting to pull away from the pack that is the rest of AEW. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. One feud that dates back further than Cole and MJF is Jericho and Ospreay, although much more recently kindled, a match that was actually supposed to happen in 2021 in New Japan, and it didn't because of the lockdowns. Now comes to a boiling point this weekend, and the face-to-face did not disappoint on Dynamite last night. Ospreay giving off some Jamie Tart vibes with his cocky demeanor and dress for this interaction, but this exchange really showed off the strength of both guys and their mic skills, and they introduced a story that Ospreay, might not be with us. He might not be here wrestling, or if so, he'd just be confined to a wheelchair. And had it not been for Chris Jericho, what did this exchange do for you when it comes to seeing them battle it out on Sunday at All In?
I said this a couple weeks ago. Props to them for making a story out of it, because as I said, this is one of those encounters that doesn't even need a story. Yeah. You are dealing with two iconic players. Jericho, while he has had success in New Japan, you've got Jericho more on the American side. Will Ospreay, still big here, still huge here, but also a huge player, across the pond. And it is just an iconic match that this is somehow simultaneously the match to watch and the most underrated match on the card. Like, I don't even know how to approach it, but seeing those two guys go at it and kind of bringing this home just highlights how good this match is going to be, with two just completely iconic individuals in the pro wrestling industry.
And think about WrestleMania 3, which this is often compared to just because of the size and nature of it. WrestleMania 3, the one everybody was looking at was Hogan and Andre, but the match that kind of stole the show was for the Intercontinental title. And that could be the same thing here. Give us your thoughts, too. Join the chat and comment with your thoughts here on this video. You can also find us on Instagram at WrestleChat Podcast. We got one more big surprise on Dynamite that leads to one last showing, perceivably, for a wrestling legend. Daddy Ass came back. Max and Anthony, the Acclaimed, did not drop any rhymes on their way to the ring. There was no celebratory scissoring. There was only fists flying between the Acclaimed and the House of Black, and HOB clearly outnumbered Max and Anthony because, of course, Alistair and his cronies shelved Billy Gunn, or so we thought. But Billy, looking as jacked as ever, power walked the ring and stated that he's seen enough. And yes, Daddy Ass was gone, but there's one badass that still had some gas in the tank, and he will be in London. What do you think about one more showing for Billy Gunn at the biggest wrestling event ever, All In?
Billy Gunn has had nothing short of a fantastic career. He's always floated, a little above the mid-card, and in my opinion, while he's been prominently displayed in both WWE and AEW, I still don't know that he gets enough credit for his contributions to the business and to wrestling in general. And, you speak to him being completely jacked, like, man, I don't know that guy could touch his nose. and good for him to be able, good for him, because I feel he looks like he still feels good. Yeah. He looks like he can still go. He actually does still go. But as he's winding down, man, what better place to be in than to feel good about everything you're doing on the way out the door. And so super excited to see him back in the fold for this match. Also, was great to see some range from the Acclaim to not be so comedic. And they're great competitors, but it was great to see them more in a focused, let's just get down to business mode. No entrance, very few words. Get out here, cut the lights, let's fight. Was a great thing to see.
Certainly looking forward to Sunday's All In from London. This is just the beginning. On Saturday, we're going to give you a whole dose of this entire card. The 0 hour, though, starts at 11 a.m. Central. The pay-per-view starting at 12 noon Central. How about that for a Sunday afternoon? You get to watch the entire pay-per-view and still, not be sleepy on Monday morning when you wake up.
It's what dreams are made of, Ant. It's what
That's
dreams
right.
are made of.
Saturday morning, Michael and I are going to be back to give you our predictions on the biggest matches on the card. We want to hear yours, too. So be back here on Wrestle Chat TV Saturday morning for the Wrestle Chat podcast. For Michael Glavin, I'm the Ant-Man, and we'll see you Saturday for a special All-In Wrestle Chat podcast right here on Wrestle Chat TV. We'll see you then.